They thought he was just another old man, a loner they could mock and intimidate without consequence. But when their relentless bullying pushed him too far, the quiet veteran made a single phone call that unleashed a storm they never saw coming. What followed wasn't just a lesson in respect, it was a revelation of who they were truly dealing with, and it left them questioning everything they thought they knew. The story opens in a tranquil small town where the streets are lined with quaint shops and vibrant flower beds. The heart of this peaceful setting is a cozy cafe with large bay windows and vintage decor. Locals gather here for coffee and conversation, while teenagers flock in after school to sip sodas and swap stories. Sitting in a corner by the window is Jack Carter, a 45-year-old U.S. veteran with an enigmatic presence. His weathered face, framed by salt and pepper hair, hints at countless untold stories. Jack wears a leather jacket over a plain gray t-shirt and jeans, blending into the background, but still exuding quiet strength. On the table in front of him lies a notebook filled with sketches of landscapes, tactical diagrams, and cryptic notes. Jack is a recent transplant to the town, having moved here to escape the noise of the city and the shadows of his past. He spends most of his days in quiet reflection, his only companions the cafe's warm coffee and a sketchbook. But his peace hasn't gone unnoticed. At another table, a group of teenagers watches Jack intently. Brad Thompson, their leader, is an 18-year-old brimming with overconfidence. With his designer sneakers and cocky grin, Brad radiates the kind of charisma that often borders on arrogance. His friends, Kyle, the lanky sidekick, Megan, the sharp-tongued observer, and Lisa, who follows more out of habit than malice, hang on his every word. "Look at him," Brad sneers, pointing subtly at Jack. "Who sits alone sketching like that? He looks like he's planning something. Maybe he's a spy," Megan jokes, earning a laugh from the group. Brad smirks. "Let's find out." It's a crisp afternoon when Brad and his friends find Jack sitting on a bench in the park, the notebook balanced on his lap. The sun casts long shadows, but Jack seems oblivious, lost in his work. The group approaches him, their laughter cutting through the serene ambiance. "Hey, Picasso!" Brad calls out, his tone dripping with mockery. Jack looks up briefly, his steel gray eyes meeting Brad's. Without a word, he returns to his sketching. This unnerves the teenagers. They're used to provoking reactions. Brad steps closer, towering over Jack. "You deaf, old man? I'm talking to you." Jack doesn't flinch. "What do you want?" His voice is low, calm, and deliberate. Brad smirks. "Just being friendly. What are you drawing? Plans to take over the world?" He grabs the notebook before Jack can react, flipping through the pages. The group laughs as Brad holds up a page featuring a detailed sketch of a soldier crouching behind cover. "Wow, did you Google this? Or are you actually this good?" Jack stands, his full height and solid frame suddenly intimidating. "Give it back." For a moment, Brad hesitates, but his ego takes over. He tosses the notebook back with a laugh. "Chill, Grandpa. No harm done." The group saunters off, but not before Brad adds, "See you around, soldier boy." Over the next few weeks, the group's harassment escalates. It starts with taunts whenever they see Jack in town. They shout nicknames like Grandpa Warrior and mimic military salutes in exaggerated, mocking gestures. One evening, Jack is leaving the grocery store with a bag of supplies when he notices Brad and his friends waiting near his truck. As he approaches, Brad leans against the vehicle, a smirk plastered on his face. "Nice ride," Brad says, tapping the hood. "Bet it's older than you are." Jack ignores them, walking to the driver's side. But before he can open the door, Kyle grabs the bag from his hand, spilling its contents onto the ground. "Oops," Kyle says, feigning innocence. Jack picks up his groceries without a word, his calm demeanor intact, but his silence only emboldens the group. That night, Jack sits alone in his modest apartment. The walls are sparsely decorated, save for a few photographs, one of his late wife, one of him in uniform with his military unit, and another of a lush mountain landscape. He stares at his notebook, the torn and crumpled pages a stark reminder of the day's events. His fingers trace the edges of a photo of his old unit, a group of strong, confident soldiers standing together in a desert landscape. Jack picks up his phone and dials a number. The line rings twice before a deep voice answers. "Carter," the voice says. "It's been a while," Jack replies. "I need some help." The voice on the other end doesn't hesitate. "What's the situation?" Jack explains, his tone steady but laced with a quiet determination. When he finishes, the voice responds, "Consider it done." The next day, Brad and his friends are at the basketball court, laughing about their latest encounter with Jack. Suddenly, the sound of tires screeching interrupts their fun. 3 black SUVs pull up, their windows tinted and engines humming. Out step 6 men in suits, their movements precise and purposeful. The leader, Agent Reynolds, is a tall man with a commanding presence. "Brad Thompson?" Reynolds calls out, his voice firm. Brad freezes. "Yeah, that's me. Who's asking?" Reynolds steps closer, holding up a photo of Jack in his military gear, surrounded by his unit. "Do you know who this man is?" Brad stammers. "Just some old guy." Reynolds narrows his eyes. This old guy is a decorated war hero and a former operative in an elite unit. Harassing someone like him is not just foolish, it's dangerous. The teenagers are taken to a private location, where Jack waits in a dimly lit room. The silence is oppressive, as the group is seated across from him. Jack looks at them, his expression unreadable. "Do you know what it's like to be hunted? To have your life depend on every decision you make?" Brad shifts uncomfortably. "We didn't mean anything by it." Jack's voice hardens. "You think it's funny to mock someone, to push them to their breaking point? You're lucky I'm not the man I used to be." The teenagers are visibly shaken. Jack leans back, his gaze unwavering. "This is your warning. Learn respect. It'll take you farther than fear ever will." Brad and his friends leave the encounter pale and subdued. Over the following weeks, they avoid Jack entirely. Brad, once the arrogant leader, now keeps a low profile. Meanwhile, Jack returns to his peaceful routine, sketching at the cafe and strolling through town. The locals begin to warm to him, offering kind words and gestures of gratitude. In the final scene, Jack sits by the cafe window, his notebook open to a fresh page. As he sketches, he glances outside, where Brad is helping an elderly woman carry her groceries. A small smile tugs at Jack's lips. And that's the story of how a group of teenagers learned the hard way to never judge a book by its cover. Jack Carter wasn't just a quiet man minding his own business. He was a decorated veteran with a lifetime of experience, strength, and wisdom. Sometimes, the strongest people are the ones who don't need to show it. If you enjoyed this story of suspense, redemption, and unexpected twists, don't forget to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more engaging stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.